Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, Tuesday, March the 3rd. It's Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and we've got Matt Robinson in the house. There he is, Mr. 8 Seconds. Matt Robinson joining us.
Whoa, pause.
He knows what I'm talking about with that. Mr. 8 Seconds, Matt Robinson.
That wouldn't be a good nickname to have.
Right.
Joining us here on the Tuesday show. Of course, we're referencing the goal that he scored on Saturday for the Reno Ice Raid. We played the clip yesterday on the show. It was a great goal, nice 2-on-1. Looked like Guy Lafleur flying down the wing there and putting that one home on the right wing side. Great pass it was too. So 8 seconds into the game. So there he is. For now, at least, he's known as Mr. 8 Seconds here, Matt Robinson. But a great Tuesday card coming up here, a big slate. Looking forward to breaking it all down. We look back on a Monday slate that very good, really, really good day. I don't want to say much needed. It's been a really good run coming out of the break for the most part for me. Saturday was a great day. Friday was a great day. Sunday wasn't so great, but nice to bounce back yesterday where we definitely cashed more than we lost. And it started with, oh my God, with a little heart attack in the mix. But nevertheless, the Columbus Blue Jackets did survive last night against the New York Rangers. Pretty ugly that they actually let it get to a point where they had a 4-0 lead against the lowly New York Rangers and let the Rangers tie that game. But nevertheless, they found a way to win it in overtime with a great game from Kirill, the other Kirill the Thrill, as I call him. The cheaper version. Certainly when you look at the salaries, Kirill Marchenko for the Columbus Blue Jackets, getting with 2 goals, including the overtime winner. So, dodged a bullet there as Columbus blows the 4-0 lead and then ends up hanging on and getting the 5-4 victory. Typical New York Rangers, right? They don't know how to please their fans. They really do not know how to do that, because they get everybody brought in emotionally, all the Ranger fans with this great comeback attempt, 4-4, get back to a tie game, only to end up losing the game in the end. In overtime, comeback falls short, and you pick up a point no Ranger fan wants them to see them get. Considering now it's all about draft lottery and trying to get in position for a potential Gavin McKenna in the 2026 NHL draft. So, just not what you wanted from the Rangers. Now that you ended up still losing that game and you got a point you didn't need at the end of the day. It's going to hurt your draft lottery position, if anything. So, but Columbus, they couldn't afford to, fritter that game away. They almost did, but they do end up surviving and getting the 5-4 win there against the New York Rangers. We also saw the Detroit I forgot the afternoon game. Detroit 4-2 win against the Nashville Predators. Big injury news, though. John Gibson leaving that game due to injury. Cam Talbot having to finish the proceedings in Music City yesterday for the Detroit Red Wings. But I thought, he gave up a goal, a few minutes, I think, after he came into the game. But after that, he played pretty well, and a nice 4-2 win there for Detroit. Ended up profitable out of this game. We split we had a win and a push on the over by Fecta because it landed on 6. But we had the first period over. We did lose the draw, which was a small bet, but no harm, no foul there. Nice, a very important win for Detroit. Tom McClellan kind of called them out after the loss against Carolina, and they responded the right way. The Toronto Maple Leafs, well, the only thing I'll say about Toronto's performance last night was it was better than it was against Ottawa, although that's a low bar to eclipse when you watch the way they played Saturday night against the Ottawa Senators. They were a little bit more forceful. They weren't outshot. They weren't caved in the defensive zone to the extent they were against Ottawa last night. But still, at the end of the day, not enough offense, missed opportunities, and they lose in overtime to the Philadelphia Flyers 3-2. It was a pretty nice win for Philly. You got to try to beat a team that's kind of, down and out right now like Toronto is, and they were able to do it. So a nice win, actually not an overtime win, a shootout win for the Philadelphia Flyers last night, 3-2. So we cashed with Philadelphia, plus 115. We said we got no problems fading this Toronto team right now. So nice to be able to cash that one. Nice to be able to cash a couple bets in this next game with Maddie's team. The Dallas Stars, 6-1 last night over the Vancouver Canucks. It was just pretty simple for me. Full game over. was, with this Vancouver team at 5.5 is worth a look because that's how bad they are defensively. Dallas team total over 3.5, cashed very easily as well. So great job by them. Now, I did say to Matt last night, and it is true, this is a great win streak, franchise win streak now for the Dallas Stars after that victory against Vancouver last night. But they have faced a lot of lesser lights during this win streak. That's the one thing that, you got to just be a little bit, you can't go crazy about how impressive this win streak is when you look at the schedule that Dallas has faced. I mean, the only two teams worth a crap during this win streak were Nashville and Utah. Everybody else, it's a lot of St. Louis's and Vancouver's and, a lot of bad teams they've, is fattened up against here, Dallas, but it doesn't matter. It's the NHL. It's, when you win this many games in a row, you got to get some credit for it. And it's pretty good to see when you can reel off this many wins. Because look, NHL teams are prone to letdown spots on any given occasion. Dallas has been able to avoid that. So a very nice 6-1 win for them last night. Leon Bichel had a hell of a night for the Dallas Stars. 2 goals for him. I mean, that guy's already a thumper as far as physically, and big guy, physical. More of a stay-at-home defenseman, but he's got good skating ability, and he can make some things happen offensively when he wants to, and he certainly did that last night. Nice couple goal performance. Matt Duchene starting to heat up too for the Dallas Stars. He scored last night, so 6-1 for Dallas, another good result. This one was not good for me, though. We had Carolina team total over, the over by Fecta with Carolina, Seattle. Joey Decord, hats off. 35 saves, I think it was, in the victory. He really was good late when Carolina was pressing to tie the game, and a nice win for Seattle against a very good Carolina Hurricanes team that had been playing well. 2-1 victory for the Kraken last night in that game. Seattle gets the money as a big dog in the plus 160 range, and that game does stay under. Wow, Colorado, LA. There's a lot to say about this game. Here's what I'll say about the LA Kings' performance in a positive. The energy was tremendous. The effort was good. You can't quibble about that effort. They played hard. They just didn't play smart. And the thing with DJ Smith and his debut as the interim head coach here, he wants to play up tempo. He wants to play, let the team be aggressive offensively, defensemen allowed to have some free reign and jump into the play. That's death to play that way against the Colorado Avalanche, especially if you're going to mismanage the puck. And the Los Angeles Kings did that too much in the first period, especially. The two Colorado goals were right off turnovers and getting caught on an odd man rush. If you're going to play fire wagon hockey against a team with the potency of a Colorado, you've got to manage the puck better than that. And LA's decimated a little bit from an injury standpoint. I mean, Byfield was a late injury absence. We didn't see that coming on the show yesterday. We thought he was going to play. He ends up being a late absence due to injury. Trevor Moore, Kevin Fiala, Kuzmenko. You're missing a lot of key players for the LA Kings last night. A lot of youngsters. But I'll say what, the youngsters made some mistakes, but they showed some heart. They showed some desire. They showed some passion. They showed some want to. And that's more than I can say from what I've seen from the LA Kings in recent games out of them. So I think there's still some positives to take out of that. It's, heartbreaking to lose it late. You give up the late goal. Colorado scores to make it 3-2. And then how about how we cashed the over 5.5 there in that game with a very late empty net goal in the dying seconds from Marty Necas there to put it away and make it 4-2 and put it over the total. Shout out to Angus Booth for the LA Kings, getting his first NHL goal last night. Great hockey instincts, right? Takes the pass from the right wing side, stick on the ice, side of the net, gets himself free from traffic, free from coverage, and nobody pays attention to him on Colorado, and just right there for the tip and the redirect past Mackenzie Blackwood last night. So it was a very nice goal, good hockey instincts. I love the energy from LA. Now, what hurt them is, look, they're trying to play up and down now under Smith, and the pace was off the charts. If that pace is going to maintain that way for LA in the next several games under DJ Smith, to me, it'll be over or past with them as far as totals are concerned. But the bottom line is, I thought, considering you're playing a great Colorado team, you were right there at the end, 2-2. You gave up the late goal. Forsberg, we got to give him credit, too. I thought he played great. I know he gave up the 2 first period goals, but he faced a lot of rubber last night and played pretty well. I think there's still some positives to take for the LA Kings out of that 4-2 loss last night. And I'll say this too, Alex, as I throw it to you, just from one game, I think that was more exciting hockey I've seen out of the LA Kings that at any time this season under Jim Hiller. I saw pace. Now I don't know if it behooves them to play this way, especially against a team like Colorado, but you talk about some exciting pace last night. Wow, you saw it in that Avs Kings game.
Yeah, you definitely saw the energy bump, if nothing else. It wasn't a victory bump. And like I said, that was going to be tough against a Colorado team that had played 2 sloppy games and split in their last couple of games. And I said, tread lightly with taking everything LA in that spot. But yeah, I would definitely say overs or nothing right now with the Kings, and grab them now while you still have chances to get 5.5s before the books make those proper adjustments, because they still might just see this as a team that's trying to play a little bit more low and slow hockey. That is not the case with Moore. And if you're doing that, and let's keep in mind, that's still Colorado. It's still one of the better, if not best teams in the league. And you kept it at 4-2. That game could have easily been 5-2, 6-2, 7-2. If you hadn't been playing a little bit more responsible defensively at times, getting some quality saves at times. So, like I said, that energy bump is definitely there, and that's the way you kind of want to look at that. It's one of the better games of the Kings. Same thing I said with New York. Kind of talk about that as well. That was one of the better New York Ranger games you saw all season, especially at home. Even though it didn't end up with a victory, but for them to come back down 4-0. This is a team where 4-0, 40 minutes into a contest at Madison Square Garden, it was pretty much nails in the coffin. For them to show life, even against a Columbus team, which has their ups and downs, that's still something of interest and something of note when we talk about these kind of bottom feeder teams. And I'm saying this now more the Rangers than Kings. We have to be careful just automatically saying, okay, they're going to get blown out and fed to the wolves, and now we go everything heavy against them. There's going to be times where they're going to show some life, they're going to show some effort, especially when they have their top goaltenders in there as well. Now on the flip side, you have a team like Vancouver, clearly tanking, playing their backup goalie, and Tolopilo made some big saves early in that game. I will give him credit for
It could
that.
have been worse if not for him. Tolopilo,
Yeah.
Topo Chico, Topo Gigio, whatever you want to call him.
Right.
Yeah, it could have been worse. Like, don't be fooled by the score. It could have been worse if not for him. He wasn't that terrible.
Yeah, that 1-1 first period could have easily been a 3-1, 4-1 first period, and we could have been looking at a 7-1, 8-1 Dallas victory. But certainly happy that the floodgates did open for the Stars. Like I said, cashing the bets that we have, and it's nice. And Matt, I'm sure you're gonna say this too. It's nice to see guys like Bishop and Blackwell and Ernie chipping in on nights. You don't want it to always just be Robertson and Haskinen and Ben and the big guns every night. You want those depth scorers to win, and you want those guys to chip in games against teams like lowly Vancouver. Like you said, yeah, sure, it's not the most impressive win streak, but you can only beat the teams that you're scheduled to play in front of, and you want your secondary guys beating the bad teams. You want your backup into Smith getting good wins and building confidence against the bottom tier teams. That's the whole setup, to give that kind of night off so that the big guns can go up against the top tier teams and shine in that capacity. So the way that they're going about it, like you said, it's very quiet, but that's a good thing. You want to be quiet, especially in a loud division right now, where Colorado has been sitting up top and is starting to slip a little bit. Minnesota's starting to get some traction. Utah's starting to get some traction. Nashville still has some life. So yeah, to go about your business quietly, that's a good thing for Dallas, I think, in the spot right now.
Yeah, no doubt. And by the way, I should give Dallas that I said Nashville and Utah were during this 9-game win streak were really the only two quality. They did beat Vegas as well during that 9-game win streak. So although Vegas, we'll get to them. We're playing Buffalo tonight. We got some things I want to say about Buffalo, and I said it Vegas, and I said it the other day. They're a little bit of a paper tiger right now the way they're playing.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, 3 against St. Louis. They had a Winnipeg win in there. So, they have feasted on the Sisters of the Poor a little bit, Dallas, during this win streak. But what do you want? You're doing what you should do. You're winning against these teams. You've won 10 in a row. You can't be too critical. But besides, if you lost a couple of those games to St. Louis and Winnipeg, then you'd be criticizing Dallas 10 times more. So like I said, 9 wins in a row is 9 wins in a row. And you got to give Dallas some credit for that. Ain't that right, Matt Robinson?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been good to see. And I think, despite the teams they've beat, when you look at it, 6 games leading into the Olympic break, they've got 7 guys on their team, 6 of which are big players for um, their respective countries. They're not, fourth line left wing from Italy that just slips into an Olympic roster. You've got the whole Finnish power play. Thomas Harley played big minutes for Canada, and then even Foxa um, playing big minutes for Czechia. Um, so yeah, to get those 6 wins, I think, with guys looking ahead to the Olympics, I think that was good to see. And then now, you've had this, what has it been? Three wins since the Olympic break, could be 4 tonight, which would get them to that 10 wins in a row, and you've done it with no Rantanen, no Hints. So it is great to see some of the depth guys stepping up. But yeah, they're playing, lesser teams, Vancouver specifically, but they are missing, 2 big pieces to their roster, to their power play, and they're still finding ways to score on the power play. That play Bichel scored on his first goal was a pretty crazy tic-tac-toe play. You've got Sam Steele highlight reel goal to Duchesne. So all good things to see 100%. Obviously want to get guys back. I think Hintz is pretty close. I know he's been skating. I doubt that they'll put him in early against a team like Calgary when you've got a Friday game against the Avalanche. So I'd expect to see him in by Friday. Rantanen, obviously, we've got a couple weeks to wait, but yeah, I think the other nice piece for me is in that Vancouver game. I watched the whole game. Um, Outside of a fluky goal that goes off Evander Kane, kind of on a weird bounce, they just totally dominated, and that's what you want to see. I know that Nashville win was a little closer than you'd maybe like. Nashville was a team with some urgency, but that Seattle game and then again in Vancouver, um, I feel like it was just very dominant, very, playing more playoff style. Those wins before the break, you didn't really see that. So it was nice to see sort of a dominant, like, hey, we're way better than you and we're going to play like it. We're not going to play down to you. We're not going to,
Right.
win 3-2 in overtime, rely on a 3-on-3 goal or shootout or something like that. It was, midway through the second period, the shots, Dallas was out shooting them by 18
We're going to
shots.
remind you why
Gabe
you're in
was
the gutter in the
redundant.
Western Conference kind of mentality there for
Yeah,
Dallas.
exactly. And
To
I
Vancouver.
think, the big thing with the NHL is um, you want to peak at the right time, right? If you're 40-5 to start the year and lose in the first round, no one really gives a shit about that start. And so I think, Dallas is a team that's been there. They've been to the Western Conference Finals multiple years in a row. Um, they want to peak at the right time, and I think, I was interested to see how they came out of the Olympic break.
Yeah.
There's still 3 days left for them to make some moves to bolster their top 4 decor to add some depth scoring. They've got really 3 key injuries because Foxa does kill penalties. He's a great fourth line center. So you've got 3 key players up front out, and they're still just kind of rolling. So it's good to see. I don't think anyone could have any complaints about last night's game. Hopefully, I know Dallas, I think, is 5-1 or 6-1 now on back to back. So hopefully they can get it done in Calgary tonight against another team that's really, playing for picks. Their 2 or 3 best players would probably not be there within the next couple days. So you can always play the side of, a guy like Kadri or Coleman is trying to play their best hockey. So, they get traded for max value and another team wants them. But they're still a team that's sitting in the gutter. So hopefully Dallas can get it done tonight. But yeah, outside of that, on the 6-game Monday card, pretty good night. I did jump on a same game parlay in that Detroit Nashville game. It was more just fuck, I'm working, so I may as well hope for some goals both ways. So luckily that one came through with the late first period goal and then jumping just to 6. So prime example where I would have probably liked 6.5 in that game, but I like 5.5 a lot more. And, lucky we did because that empty netter late with 30 seconds left is what keys in that parlay. I did have a couple others. I did miss on that Hurricanes Kraken. I had them in a parlay at an over 5.5, but outside of that, a lot of overs. the Blue Jackets Rangers was a non-sweat. As far as over goes, I did jump on Blue Jackets and they scared me there for a bit before finally closing it out in overtime. So I'm a big fade the Rangers at home. I did it over the weekend and they fucking blew it against Pittsburgh. You know, they were down 2-0 in the third, tie it up, and then win in a shootout. So that was unfortunate over the weekend. But you know, I think I saw that it's been 100 days now since they have a regulation win at home, which is insanity when you think about it. Like, I think the Texas Rangers might be a little, obviously with baseball ending in October, but the Rangers have more wins in the last, 200 days than the New York Rangers.
Yeah,
So
it kind of feels that way. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
it's fucking wild. But so yeah, definitely a fade the Rangers. You know, I think I got in on the Blue Jackets at like -115, -120. So anytime a half decent team is going to New York, I'll be on them if the price is right. But
7-21 is now the updated home record for the Rangers this year. 7-21, pretty brutal.
Yeah, insane. So yeah, and then last game of the night, obviously after Dallas closed out Vancouver, I was hoping, a nice LA win would have helped Dallas as far as the Central goes, but yeah, the Avs have been sluggish, so they're giving Dallas and Minnesota, for that matter, a chance to try and fight for that first spot in the West and in the Central. Maybe month and a half ago, it was pretty much locked up. Dallas, Minnesota was going to be the first round. Just Colorado was so far out of reach, but I think they're like 6-5 in their last 11. And then you have a team like Dallas that's now, 9-1, 10-1 in their last 11. So, opening the door for sure.
The race is open. Exactly. It's not totally.
I know
it's still going to be tough. Like, it's still going to be very tough to overtake Colorado. But at least there's a possibility. There's a slim possibility, but there's a possibility. Yeah.
Well, and all it comes down to, so Dallas, they're 6 points back. Colorado, obviously, with a game in hand, but Dallas plays Colorado 3 times. So, you sweep the board there, you're right there. So, and then I think Dallas plays Minnesota twice. So, they've got 5 Central Division games against those two teams.
They're going to have head-to-head inventory to try to make up this ground. Exactly. No question.
Yeah, it's at least a nice situation where they control their own destiny to some degree. It's not, all right, hopefully Dallas can win, 18 of their last 22 games and Colorado loses, a certain amount, and then Dallas might have a chance. They actually can control their own destiny to some level. So it'll be interesting. Friday will obviously be a big game at the AAC, so looking forward to that. Unfortunate that Rantanen will definitely be out, but who knows? Maybe there will be another player for the Dallas Stars on Friday night. So big 11-game card. So I'll shut up now, and we can kind of get into tonight's card. But a lot of good games on the card, and I like a lot of stuff already.
I didn't know there was Reno Ice Raiders betting lines, but JD, I had Matt Robb first goal, first period the other night. That would have been some kind of. What would the price have been on that? Plus 10,000.
First goal, first period. Plus 10,000. I'm the leading scorer on the team.
No, definitely not. Oh shit! Wow,
yeah,
I got to give you more respect than that. My goodness, plus 500,
yeah, that's
plus
up.
800.
I think I've had the first goal of the game 3 or 4 times this year out of maybe 18 games, 20 games.
Is that your quickest goal though in any like level of hockey?
I was thinking about that. I think that it's got to be, maybe a beer league game or maybe roller hockey, 100%. I've probably scored quicker than 8 because, you get a face-off break and you can score from anywhere in roller hockey, so it can be quick. But, yeah, I've definitely scored on my first shift a bunch in college and I think one time in junior. But, yeah, 8 seconds was – and what's crazy is it came back into our zone. So it wasn't just like you push it forward, there's a defensive breakdown, you get an odd man rush. Like, it came back to our zone, we chipped it out and made it down the ice. So, yeah, I think
good hockey instincts going to the net, stick on the ice. There you go. Beautiful reception of the 2-on-1 feed. Perfect.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
The way they teach
Perfect pass. So it was. I got back to the bench and I was like, "Was that an okay start?" Because our coach was mentioning we needed a better start. On
Mr.
Saturday.
Tukey.
I go, "Is that okay?"
Yeah,
so I think he laughed. So
I think that suffices as a better start. 8 seconds. Matty Robb puts Reno up 1-0 against Breckenridge. It was on Saturday night there in Mountain League. That's what they call it, the Mountain League Senior Men's League. There we go for
Mountain
Matt and his
Hockey League,
Reno Ice Raiders.
NHL.
All right, let's get back to some NHL hockey and talk about this massive Tuesday NHL card. We will begin with Nashville and Columbus. Columbus minus 135 home favorites, 6.5 the total, shaded to the under here in this game. Columbus will take the money and run, Steve Miller Band style tonight with the Blue Jackets. We're not going to take them tonight, not at minus 135, not on the second night of a back-to-back. And it is back-to-back for Nashville, but they played early afternoon against Detroit, losing 4-2. So a little bit of a situational scheduling edge, just a slight one for Nashville. Nashville's also played Columbus very well in recent meetings, 6-4 the last 10, 5-1 in the last 6 meetings for Nashville against Columbus. They've also lost, though, 4 of the last 5. So sense of urgency should be there for the road team here tonight, the Nashville Predators, going into this game. We'll see who's in net. We expect this because it's a back-to-back. I think there's at least a reasonable chance we're going to get Justus Onninen here in between the pipes for the Predators. He's projected. You would expect Jet Greaves to start for Columbus after it was Elvis Merzlikins last night. So I think it's going to be Onninen versus Greaves. We'll keep an eye on the status of Zach Werenski. He was a late scratch last night against the Rangers due to an injury. And looks like right now he's questionable for tonight. It was Igor Zamula, the former Flyer, who replaced Werenski on the blue line last night for the Columbus Blue Jackets. So, condensed schedule, great point from Rich, both teams back-to-back. Nashville right now is in one of these stages where the offense has kind of cooled off during some of these losses. They only scored 2. They had their chances, couldn't capitalize against Detroit yesterday. Meanwhile, the Blue Jackets, actually offensively, the Blue Jackets have been fine, and they did lose 2 in a row to drop to 10-3 under Rick Bowness since he took over as the head coach. Now 11-3 after the win last night under Rick Bowness. I mean, I lean Columbus. I'm just not going to take them in this spot at this price. But what I am going to take, give me the draw. Back-to-back games have gone to overtime for Columbus. 4 of the last 9 games have gone past regulation and gone to either overtime or a shootout for Nashville. So we have some pretty strong draw indicators and draw flags here in this game that make the draw, I think, worth a bet here at north of plus 300. And you've got 2 teams that need points, East versus West. No team's going to get that upset about the other team getting points out of this game. So the draw to me is a very clear live betting option here. Alex, what do you think? Nashville, Columbus.
It's the first thing I did this morning when I grabbed my phone and woke up was bet this draw. I grabbed plus 325 at Bet Online. It's now down to 321, so that's still the best price available because you're seeing 300 in MGM, below 300 at FanDuel and other shops. So definitely shop around for that. But liking the draw, this is a great draw season play. And like I said, with Columbus having the back-to-back games going past regulation, would not shock me to see that trend continue.
Now, I'm not Mr. Under on this show, but I think this sets up maybe as an under spot. Rick Bowness has preached from day one defensive focus for this team. I don't think he's going to be thrilled they blew a 4-0 lead in the third period last night against the New York Rangers. So at 6.5, I would lean under a little bit here in this game. My one concern is the Justus Onninen blow up could happen at any time. But I will say this: he's been better lately. He's been a little bit more sturdy in net the last few times we've seen Onninen. So, like I said, I do lean under at 6.5. Matt, what do you think here? Predators, Blue Jackets.
Yeah, this is a tough one. I think there's the same game parlay play. I agree with you. I kind of lean Columbus, but little heavy price. I think this is going to be a good game. I do think draw is a good look, just given the East Coast, Eastern Conference, Western Conference look. But for me, I think a first period full game, 1.5, 5.5 will be my only play here.
All right, good stuff. As far as props for this Nashville-Columbus game, I'm going to take Adam Fantilli. He's on a 3-game goal-scoring streak, plus 240, plus 250 range, him to find the back of the net. Olivier has actually scored in 4 of the last 10 games, 2 of the last 5, got on the board last night. Plus 600. You're talking a pretty good price there for Matthew Olivier for the Blue Jackets as far as goal scoring here tonight in this one. You look at the Nashville forward group, Ryan O'Reilly, there's been talk about, is he going to be still with Nashville post-trade deadline? Talked about Howla, how he's played better lately. So those are a couple of the options I would look at as far as goal props on the Nashville side.
Probably need to go back to Charlie Coyle, right? Because we were all on him yesterday, didn't do anything.
That's true.
This would be the time where
You
he'd
know
come
that
back and
works.
score.
Yeah.
So
Tonight he'll score when if we jump off the train. So maybe for that reason we should give Charlie Coyle one more chance here, Biggie style here with the goal prop tonight in this one against Nashville. I'm looking at Onninen's numbers. Yeah, I mean he actually had a good performance in relief against St. Louis. He gave up just 2 goals against Chicago. Did give up 4 against Washington, 3 against Jersey. He had 2 against Washington, so he's been a little bit better. He did have 1 game which was rough, the Vegas game where they lost 7-2 January 17th. So it's still a lot of inconsistency with
3
him,
against New Jersey, and New Jersey struggled scoring against a lot of different teams.
Right.
Only 2 against the Hawks, but keep in mind the Hawks offense has kind of been sputtering as well. God, those aren't the best of numbers, really.
Yeah, no question. So we'll see what version of Oninen we get tonight. All right, Vegas, Buffalo. Buffalo minus 135, home favorite, 6 the total. Buffalo rolling, just continuing to play great hockey. And like I've said from the beginning here with the Sabres, we know, they've got ability to put the puck in the net. It's what they're doing defensively, what they're doing as far as the goals against. That's what's impressing me. Buffalo's not been able to keep the puck out of the net in years past. It's been to their demise. And this year, you're seeing them hold leads. You're seeing them get sound defensive play as a team, good structure, good fundamentals. The goaltending from both the UPL, the combination of UPL, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, and Alex Lyon, has given them a chance to win most nights. So like I said, it's been very, very solid to see that here for this Buffalo team. 3 straight wins for them. We'll see if they can continue that here against this Vegas team that it's really alarming to see the way they've played here in the last 2 games. They beat LA 6-4 with, most of their key contributors out that night. That was the night they arrested Jack Eichel, Mitch Marner, Mark Stone, Shea Theodore. All of them didn't play against LA coming out of the Olympic break. Then they get everyone back. All those players that sat out against LA, they met the team in Washington, were back in the lineup. They lose 3-2 to the Capitals there. And then there's not much to explain other than it was horrific. Sunday afternoon, getting shut out by the Pittsburgh Penguins without Sidney Crosby, 5-0 Sunday afternoon. So not what you want to see here from the Vegas Golden Knights. And there's a plethora of factors. They're not shutting teams down like they did. Okay, this is not right now a defense that is playing sound defensive hockey. They're not. They're giving up chances. They're giving up too many good looks. They're turning it over a bit too much. And then when there's a save to be made, Aiden Hill's not making it, not at a consistent level right now. And this is a prolonged issue for him because really you trace this back to the Stanley Cup run when the Golden Knights won the Cup and all of a sudden, Aiden Hill just went on this run of a lifetime in net. Has he really been as good since that playoff run? I would say no. He's had a bunch of injuries, and then when he has been healthy, he has not been consistent enough goaltending, bringing that consistent goaltending for the Vegas Golden Knights. So, like I said, it's there's some issues right now for Vegas. That being said, Buffalo's off a 2-game sweep down in Florida, a thoroughly satisfying Tampa with 6-2 win against the best team in the Eastern Conference, the Atlantic Division leading Tampa Bay Lightning, where they thumped them 6-2 in that game. I could see this coming back home off those 2 wins in Vegas. I mean, if Vegas is going to show you anything, it has to be early. You have to be ready to play from the puck drop here when you come off a 5-0 beat down at the hands of Pittsburgh and you played terrible, and now you're off 2 games in a row that you've lost. So for that reason, pure situationals are going to point me toward Vegas first goal, first period. I'm going to take that here. I like this spot. I like this price to take a shot with that. I don't trust Vegas to win the game. Let me be clear. I do not trust Vegas to win this game. I'm not interested in the money line on Vegas. But I think with Buffalo coming off the road, feeling pretty good, getting the 2-0 sweep down in Florida, that maybe they're ripe for the picking for just a little bit of a sluggish start. And Vegas, you would think in theory, after what we've seen the last 2 games, in particular the Pittsburgh debacle, that they're ready to rock tonight from the beginning. So you can get plus 145 at FanDuel. Vegas first goal, first period. I'm on that. And my plan, I have a very clear plan in mind with this game. If I cash Vegas first goal, first period, my plan is then to bet Buffalo live money line because we're going to get plus price at that point. So I kind of have a strategy, kind of have a game flow mapped out in my mind for this Golden Knights Sabres game, where I think Vegas comes out flying, gets on the board first, hopefully in the first period to cash that plus 145. And then at that point, we're going to pivot and take Buffalo live on the money line, probably at a plus price at that point. So that's my plan here of attack when it comes to Vegas Buffalo. Alex, what do you think here? Golden Knights, Sabres.
I like that plan of attack quite a bit. I might have to be quick with it though, because I like first period over in this game. I like both teams to score in this one. I think, like I said, I do like Vegas to get on the board first at plus 145. Like I said, that'd have to be almost immediate to grab Buffalo, in my opinion, because I would be looking at Buffalo's second goal, Buffalo money line, and like I said, already having first period over and both teams score in pocket pregame. So yeah, right there with you. Vegas first goal, first period, along with the both teams to score and first period over pregame. And so hopefully we catch that first goal at Vegas and then grab everything Buffalo. Second goal of the game or next goal scored and money line.
And we know Buffalo's had a lot of deficits where they've come back and won. That's another reason why they're second in the Atlantic right now, and certainly in the driver's seat to end the ugly playoff drought, the longest playoff drought currently in the NHL, is that they're never out of a game. They've had several times where they've been down and they've come back to win. So I think this is a sound, logical, positive expectation betting approach for me. Vegas first goal, first period, and then live bet Buffalo at that point. I like that first period over, by the way, as well. I'll probably tack that on and maybe tack on a live over if it hits 5.5 for the full game, if I find it within game wagering during the proceedings tonight. Matt, what do you think here? Vegas, Buffalo.
Yeah, I'm on the first period over. I think I agree with a lot of the points you guys made. I think Vegas, after getting shut out, will be looking for a strong start. I don't think they're in very good form right now, so I'm not going to jump on anything else but first period. I do think they'll try and have a good start, but Buffalo's been good, man. So it's hard for me to bet against them. So I think I agree with you. If Vegas does score first, I'll jump on Buffalo money line. I think they're the better team in form right now, and they've got to be feeling good after that Florida trip. It wasn't like some 6-game road trip where I feel like this is a drop spot. They went down to Florida, took care of business, and are back at home. So, yeah, probably just first period over for me pregame, and then I'll be looking for a Buffalo live if they do go down.
All right, there you go. Good stuff. As far as props for Vegas and Buffalo here tonight, I mean, I would only entertain the Russian duo, Dorofeyev and Barbashev for Vegas. I think Barbashev, let's see, is he still on the top line with Eichel and Dorofeyev? Yes, that's worth. I mean, Jack Eichel back in Buffalo here tonight. You know, he always wants to play well there. So if you like Jack Eichel props against his former team, I wouldn't talk anyone out of that. I think for Buffalo, when I look at props involving the Sabres, Peyton Krebs, I'm going to go back. I'm going to constantly go back to the Peyton Krebs prop well, as long as he stays up there with Tage Thompson and Alex Tuch on the top line, because you're getting obviously a price that you is too good, you know, to not bet it with Peyton Krebs. Plus 500, plus 550. Still what I'm seeing here as far as goal props for the for Peyton Krebs playing on the top line with the Thompson and Tuch. Tuch's been good lately as well for the Sabres. Back-to-back games with a goal for Alex Tuch. 5 of the last 10 games, he's scored a goal for the Buffalo Sabres as well. So Peyton Krebs, Alex Tuch. You know, Matt's on the show, so maybe this is a Josh Doan night for Buffalo. He's kind of cooled off, but it's not like they've needed him. You know, that's what's been so special about Buffalo. They could be a different guy every night, making the difference offensively. So, like I said, those are a bunch of the props I'd be interested in here with Vegas and Buffalo. Utah, Washington. We've got Washington minus 120, home favorite, 6 the total in this game. I expect both teams to bring it. Washington's didn't play well against Montreal. They lose to the Canadiens on Saturday night. I think it was 6-3 that game ended. And then, of course, Utah getting blanked by Chicago 4-0. And not a happy coach was Andre Tourigny following that loss to the Blackhawks, nor should he have been. I mean, the building was flat. The team was flat. I mean, it was just, you could sense it for the entirety of that game. And like I said, Tourigny with a great quote after it saying, let me see if I can find that here. Oh, wait a minute. This is Chicago and Winnipeg. Okay, we opened the wrong window. No, there we go. Utah and Washington. Yeah, the quote from Tourigny after the game was something. He said, we need to take that game and learn. That has to hurt big time so that we can make sure that doesn't happen again. If that's the purpose of that game, it is what it is, but there's no reason for us to play like that. But they did. So like I said, not a happy coach. I'm going to sprinkle on Utah here, just small, because Washington's coming to play, I think, too. But I'm pretty damn sure you're going to get a much better effort from Utah, and I'm still not totally sold on what we're seeing from Washington. Like I can't go crazy anymore about the wins coming out of the break anymore with Washington. Especially the win again. They beat Philly, which isn't anything to write home about. And they beat Vegas, and that win doesn't look as good right now because Vegas hasn't looked great coming out of the break. So, I think Utah will play well here. So will Washington, I think, but I'll take a shot with Utah. But what I like even more is the draw here. The draw to me is very much worth a shot. I think it's going to be a close game, competitive game, East versus West. Teams need the points. Neither team's going to be concerned if the other gets a point and the game goes to overtime. So it's another good draw spot for me here with Utah and Washington. And yes, Jarek, Alex, let me know about this little run of draws with you on the call, the great next Doc Emmerich, Jarek Rubel. There he is in the chat. I'm broadcasting this game tonight for the live streaming, Utah-Washington. So check out Jarek. Listen to some of his play-by-play if you want, if you can't watch the game. 13 of my last 16 broadcasts have been decided by one goal. 9 of my last 10 NHL games have been one-goal games. 6 of those 10 games have gone to overtime. So that's not the reason for liking the draw, but like I said, anything that strengthens the case, I'm all ears. But like I said, I do like the draw here. I think we've got very live overtime potential with these two teams. Alex, what do you think? Utah, Washington.
Yeah, I'm right there on the draw as well, and I like Utah to win in overtime or a shootout. By default, it also means I have to grab Dylan Guenther to get the overtime game-winning goal because that usually is the case when that happens. But I also like Utah to score first goal, first period here, plus 140. Like I said, coming off of that, that's embarrassing. You get shut out by an Arvid Soderblom, that's just simply embarrassing. I can
we give Chicago some credit, but come on, that's still bad.
94 career starts, and that man didn't have a shutout until that game. And like I said, it was just a lackluster effort. Like I said, flat building, flat. Just everything was flat about Utah in that game on Sunday afternoon. You have to play better than that if you're a team that's serious about making a push toward the wild card spot, which you are in right now if you're Utah. So, good on Cherney to call his team out. I think they respond early with a goal, and I think they're going to win, but I think it's going to take longer than 60 to get it done.
There we go. We got a little switch, too. Lawson Krause has been on the top line for Utah a lot lately, but Gunther's now back on that spot with Schmaltz and Keller. Krause drops to the second line with Paterka and Logan Cooley on that second line. So there's a little bit of a switch there as far as the forward group is concerned. Guenther and Krause, though, I still like props involving both of them. I think if I were to look at Washington here, PLD started to heat up. Brodus on the second line. Those are a couple that I would be interested in up for the Caps. Good find by J.D. Carcone for the Mammoth. Michael Carcone, 3 goals in 4 games versus Thompson. And Clayton Keller has 4 goals in 6 games versus Logan Thompson, who, of course, will be in net tonight for the Washington Capitals in this game. Karel Vejmelka already confirmed for Utah. Maddie, anything you like here? Mammoth Capitals.
I actually am going to pass on this game, just given the 11-game card. I could make a case for Utah. I think Washington should win at home. I just kind of go back and forth. So, and then as far as overs go, I don't love the over. It's not a situation where I think it's definitely an under spot. Like it's just kind of a game where I just don't have a good feel for it. So I'll be passing on this one tonight.
I think, I was going to say, the Montreal game went over the total for Washington, but prior to that, the 2 games after the break were unders. And by the way, it was Charlie Lindgren who started against Montreal. So the 2 Logan Thompson starts for the Washington Capitals since the Olympic break both stayed under the total. And I kind of think this one might here as well. Like I said, I'm not a big under guy, but I would lean in that direction as far as the total there. All right, Pittsburgh, Boston. Bruins minus 120, home favorites, 6.5 the total in this game. I think the price is good. The price is reasonable enough. We've talked all season about how good the Bruins have been on home ice. Give Pittsburgh all the credit. No Sidney Crosby, and we've seen what they've been able to do since the break, win 2 of those 3 games. And really, they should be 3-0 because they blew that one game against the New York Rangers. They should have won that game. That close to being 3-0, but they beat Jersey 4-1. They had the 2-0 lead against the Rangers, ended up losing 3-2 in a shootout, but they bounced back and they shut out the Vegas Golden Knights 5-0 on Sunday. But I like Boston here. Bounce back spot. We talked about how good they've been at home all year. 22-8-1 for the Boston Bruins at TD Garden, one of the best home ice records in the NHL, and 10 straight home wins. 10 straight they've won on home ice, the Boston Bruins entering this game. So this is where I think Pittsburgh, it's been great. They give them all the credit. Being without Crosby, everyone else has stepped up, and they have. Shinnikov's been great. Ben Kindle. You go on down the list. Avery Hayes has given them a lot of energy in the lineup here for the Penguins as well. They're getting contributions from a variety of different sources. Ricard Raquel, Rust, Shinikov's been good. Thomas Novak has stepped up. Even their fourth liners like Dewar, Achari, Brazeau. I mean, everyone. It's been a collective effort to make up for the loss of Sidney Crosby for this Pittsburgh Penguins team. But like I said, I think there's a good spot for Boston. They haven't played since Saturday, where they lost to Philadelphia, a game that really Vladar was the main reason Philadelphia won that game. I think Boston played well enough to win. They just couldn't put the puck in the net. They've been off since Saturday. Pittsburgh had to play the extra game in between Sunday against Vegas, so it's third game in 4 days for them. I like Boston here, minus 120. One of the backing off a loss, one of the best home teams in the NHL. Alex, what do you think here? Penguins, Bruins.
Yeah, smaller looks in this game, but I like Boston as well. I got minus $1.15. I like this game to go to overtime. Grab the draw right at plus 300 over at BetMGM, and I have Boston to win in overtime or shootout plus 550 over at FanDuel.
All right, good stuff there as far as that goes. And another thing, too, with this series is it's been a pretty pro-Boston head-to-head matchup as well. 8-2 in the last 10 against Pittsburgh for this Boston Bruins team. So, yeah, definitely Boston for me, money line tonight in this one. Matt, what do you think here? Pittsburgh, Boston.
I'm also on Boston and the first period over. I think like 4 of the last 5 home wins for Boston, the first period overs hit. So, this Pittsburgh team is gritty. I wouldn't expect Boston to win this game 5-0 or anything like that. I think they'll put up, a valid effort. I do think Boston ends up winning the game, so I will jump on them. I think there's a good price for them at home, given the streak, given how they're playing. But I do think Pittsburgh maybe can chip in. Maybe it's 2-0 after the first. Either way, but first period over in Boston money line. That'll be my plays for this one.
Yeah, even though I like Boston, Ben Kindle's been excellent for them. There's no doubt. You can't deny how good he's been, and he's definitely had some value in his props. He's now up on the top line now with Rust and Raquel, which tells you Dan Muse is very happy with the way Ben Kindle's playing for the Pittsburgh Penguins. So Kindle, Shinikov are the 2 clear choices for sure, as far as goal props for the Penguins in this game. I think for Boston, coming into this one, you've got Husnadinov, you've got Minton, Geeky. That's actually been a very good line for them, of late. So Minton, Geeky, Husnadinov, there's good value with him. Still up on the top line with Elias Lindholm and David Pasternak. So definitely I think Husnadinov's got value for the Bruins as far. And Justin Brazeau versus his old team. That's right, Penguins. Justin Brazeau facing Boston. So the former player angle certainly in play there. So Brazeau to find the back of the net could be worth a shot here. All right, Florida, New Jersey, even money, minus 110 both sides, 5.5 the total. Yeah, Skinner. There you go. I thought I would give that. It is going to be Stu. You know what's funny about Pittsburgh's goaltending? This is not because Skinner hasn't been bad, but lately Shelov's has been a little bit better. If you actually look at the recent comparing stats lately, Shelov's has been a little bit better of the two goalies, I would say, the last 5 to 10 starts than Stuart Skinner. And it's not like Stuart Skinner's been bad, but Shelov's has really turned it up. Shelov's was the guy that got the shutout Sunday afternoon against Vegas. So, like I said, I actually think at the moment, I don't mind having Boston with Skinner in net because I think he's just been a little bit lagging slightly behind Shelov's performance-wise in recent games for Pittsburgh in net. All right, we got Florida, New Jersey, minus 110 both sides, 5.5 the total here in this one. Whew. I am going to take Florida here, minus 110. This is a small bet because I do worry about just how much gets taken out of them, wind out of their sails kind of loss against the New York Islanders. That was a horrific loss to lose in the last 30 seconds, courtesy of the Anders Lee goal, which did cash a bargain bin special for me on Sunday. You wonder how much belief is still there. When you don't get a point out of that game and you had a 2-0 lead in the first period and a team that needs points desperately, that could be, maybe the final mental, that could put them down and out mentally. But you also have to look at the fact that, as Trap God 9 just said it, Devils are terrible. They did win their last game, but let's calm down. It was against the St. Louis Blues. This is still not a very good hockey team. They're not scoring many goals, the New Jersey Devils of late, which should help this Florida team, which has actually had some big problems defensively lately. And Sergei Bobrovsky, oh my goodness, it's not good. Like, a couple of those goals he gave up against the Islanders, like, that's not the Sergei Bobrovsky I know. Like, couple of that goal that Horvat scored right along the goal line from the corner boards, that can't go in. That's a terrible goal for Sergei Bobrovsky to give up. Awful. Bad as it gets. But that's the kind of season it's been in a nutshell for goalie Bob. Nowhere close to what we've seen from him. And the goals saved above average, the advanced statistic for goaltenders, points to that. His GSAA numbers are horrific this season for the Florida Panthers. But it's kind of one of these something's got to give games. Florida's and Bobrovsky are having their issues defensively combined. New Jersey can't put a puck in the ocean right now, though, half the time. So something's got to give in this game. For me, this is like backs against the wall time for Florida. You lose this game, you might as well pack it up, fold the tent. Not going to happen this year. No three-peat, no Stanley Cup playoffs. You got to have this one. Simple as that. And I still think you're a better team than New Jersey. So for that reason, I'm on Florida minus 110, but definitely not one of my stronger plays of the night. Alex, what do you think here? Panthers, Devils.
Yeah, I grabbed a piece of Florida. I got minus $1.12 at Bet Online. It's still best price available. I'm seeing some 15s and 20s floating around. So definitely shop around with that. But I like Florida in this spot. Like you said, backs are against the wall, and these are two struggling teams. But the better of the two, I'm taking Florida at this cheap of a price. And like I said, Bobrovsky has struggled. He looks like a guy who's 37 years of age, who's played a ton of hockey over the last 3 years. That's simply where it's at with him right now. And this is a game for him to maybe get right because, like I said, New Jersey hasn't been able to get offense going against just about anybody. We just talked about how good Annunen looked against the Devils, and he still ended up giving up 3 goals against them. So this could be a game for Bob to get right. And if that's the case, then I certainly look at Florida winning it.
Yeah, Bob and Markstrom, by the way, are the confirmed starting goaltenders in this game. Sergei Bobrovsky for Florida, Jacob Markstrom for New Jersey. That's great numbers there from Tim in our chat. There it is. I mean, goals saved above average, goals saved above expected. You can call it either. That stat, minus 10.4 is bad. I know off the top of my head, that's among the worst statistics for goals saved above expected in the NHL of any goaltender this year. Minus 10.4 is not what we've come to expect, from Sergei Bobrovsky. You know what we've also not come to expect, going back to that Anders Lee game-winning goal in the 30 seconds left for the Islanders on Sunday against Florida. When do you see Ekblad and Forsling made to look like fools on the ice, like that? These are two guys that have been pillars of strength for 2 consecutive Stanley Cup runs for the Florida Panthers. 3 if you include when they went to the final against Vegas and lost. They just looked like defending 101, and they totally forgot to have a clue what to do there against Anders Lee. Just breakdown in communication. It was way too easy for him to cut to the front of the net and beat Bobrovsky, and that's against Ekblad and Forsling. And we've lauded Forsling on this show for a great defensive stalwart he's been for the Florida Panthers. So that was alarming to see that. And that's just another piece of evidence that's just not the same Florida group right now. This season compared to what we saw the last few years. Maddie, what do you think here in this one with Florida, New Jersey?
Yeah, to be honest, I don't think Florida's gonna, make the miracle run and go on another run, but I do think they win this game tonight. You've got two
damn sure
teams
won't
that are
if they lose this game. That's where we're at.
Sure, yeah, but yeah, 2, 3, and 7 teams. New Jersey was able to get a win in their last game, and Florida's on a 2-game losing streak. So I think Florida gets it done tonight. I don't think it's a sign that they're going to win 15 in a row and then find themselves back in a wild card spot or even a spot in the Atlantic. But crazier things have happened. Look at St. Louis the year they won the Cup. I think they were in dead last at the New Year's break. So or over New Year's, excuse me. And so. Crazier things have happened. It just doesn't feel like, they've got enough life. A team that's trying to make a run after the Olympics, losing 2 in a row, especially a team that has their pedigree and knows what they need to do knows what they need to get done. But yeah, I'll take a shot with Florida. I kind of like the over just because it's a TNT game, but I just at the same time with these two teams, I just don't. It doesn't scream over to me because it's a TNT game and it's that early TNT slot. I think this is a game I watch, and if there's some pace to it, I probably try and jump in on a plus money on 5.5 if we get a few minutes with no goals. But I think pregame, I'm just going to take a shot in Florida and keep it simple.
Who's that, Jonathan? Who's that stranger you're referencing there in the chat? Let me just see here. I got to make sure I saw this properly. Who's that stranger you're referencing in the chat? Where was? There it is. Who? Jesper who? Huh? Jesper Bratt? Does he still play for this fucking team? Really? Does he still take the ice for the New Jersey Devils on a nightly basis? You can't tell when you watch him. By the way, that guy's got 13 goals this season for the New Jersey Devils in 61 games. 13 goals from Jesper Bratt. You want to know why New Jersey's not making the playoffs? This guy's offense has disappeared. This is a guy that scored 32 goals one season in the NHL a few years ago. Where the hell's he gone? Can't find him with a telescope on the ice, the old Ian Cameron line, most nights for this New Jersey Devils team. That being said, I do understand that 8 goals in 16 games against Bobrovsky for Jesper Bratt. So from that standpoint, he's due. Yeah, there you go. He's due. And he does have good numbers against Sergei Bobrovsky. But yeah, that guy has disappeared. Even my guy from Newfoundland there, Dawson Mercer, he hasn't taken that next step this year. There's a bunch of players like that for the New Jersey Devils.
A lot of witness protection acting going on in Newark.
Yeah. No doubt. Couple props I like for Florida. Sam Bennett scored in back-to-back games. You can get plus 230. We talked about a return of the Mackie Samoskevich has been moved up a little bit. Now, Lundell is with Luostarinen and Reinhart. A little bit of a shake-up here for Paul Maurice. Lundell and Kuhlman Luostarinen for the Florida Panthers. They certainly might be worth a shot prop-wise playing with Reinhart. And I'll throw one out there, too. Even though he's on the fourth line, I've seen this guy now multiple games. He represented Latvia at the Winter Olympics. He's been noticeable, man. I see him make things happen every time he's on the ice, and he scored a goal against the Islanders. Sandis Vilmanis, the Latvian kid. I think getting a goal prop at the price of plus 1,000 I'm seeing for him to find the back of the net tonight, 10-1. It's worth it. I know he's only on the fourth line, but every time I see this guy get a shift, I see him making it happen, getting a chance offensively, threatening in the offensive zone when he's on the ice. They've got something there in this kid, Sandis Vilmanis for the Florida Panthers. Let me just see if that is indeed the best price. Plus 1,000. FanDuel, BetMGM, both of them have good prices there for the Latvian kid Vilmanis. So I'm going to sprinkle on that for sure. He's been noticeable when he's been on the ice for the Panthers. All right, next up, Chicago, Winnipeg. We've got Winnipeg minus 160 home favorites, 5.5 the total. Is a draw sprinkle. That's it. That's all I got here. Little sprinkle on the draw. I'm not going to trust Chicago after a big win against Utah. I mean, they're the kind of team where I could see them shutting out Utah 4-0, although we have to remember Utah was terrible in that game, and come back and fall short here tonight against Winnipeg. But Winnipeg's coming off the California swing. They played Anaheim. They played San Jose. They lost both of those games. There's no chance in hell I'm laying minus 160 with the Winnipeg Jets, but I'm not that excited to back Chicago in this spot either. So it's just going to be a small draw bet for me. That's about it. I expect Knight and Hellebuck to be the starting goaltenders tonight in this game, and it is confirmed. Both of them will be in net for their teams. Just the draw. That's it. Alex, what do you think? Chicago, Winnipeg.
Yeah, draw for me as well. I grabbed plus 315 at Bet Online with this. I also have a bargain bin selection, of course, coming from this game, being that it is a Hawks game. A player who needs to wake up and get things rolling for Chicago is a guy I'm looking at. So just a little tease there. Talk about it later.
Not to mention Winnipeg's been a draw magnet coming out of the break. 3 games since the Olympic break, 3 draw cashes for the Winnipeg Jets. So I'm just riding this wave right now. Vancouver, Anaheim, San Jose, all 3 games post-Olympic break for Winnipeg going past regulation. So why not ride the wave with that draw here tonight? Matt, what do you think? Blackhawks, Jets.
Yeah, I feel like it's draw or bust. I saw Perlo mention it. Maybe Winnipeg wants to play well for Tays. Totally agree, but definitely not laying minus 160 on Winnipeg right now. Um, I think this game's a toss. I think if you're taking anything on the sides, you take Chicago just for the value. Because I think this game could go either way. But I think for me, just a small draw play here. I would lean under if anything, which means it'll probably be 8-7. But yeah, not gonna have a side or total here.
We haven't even mentioned the trade yet. It was a minor trade, but it was still a trade. Connor Murphy sent to the Edmonton Oilers. Stanley Bowman obviously has familiarity with Connor Murphy from his time in Chicago, bringing him into the fold with Edmonton. The one thing he'll give Edmonton Murphy is a little bit of that physical sandpaper, type of attitude. He's going to be good in the dressing room. They need a little give a shit on the blue line right now. This Edmonton team, which has been a porous defensive team for far too long this season. So from that standpoint, I understand it. But at the same point in time, I think not for Chicago, to be able to get something in return, you'll take it. Alex, your thoughts?
Oh, fantastic trade. We get a second round pick in 2028. So, of course, Kyle, refilling the cupboard, which is necessary. Connor Murphy has, had a tremendously long career, 8 years in Chicago. It was part of the end of that Showtime dynasty. Went through a lot of bad teams, but kept his head up, kept that team. He was a great leader, always, usually wearing the A most seasons for that team. He's done a lot, but it was always the intangibles, right? He's a great locker room guy. He'll stand up for his teammates. He's great in the community, but he was dog shit defensively for most of those 8 years. Let's be honest. And that's not really that big of a boost for Edmonton. If you're talking about trying to make a run and get
when
back
you got
into the
Spencer
playoffs.
Stastny's of the world on your blue line, it still could be an upgrade. That's the way.
Oh, yeah, it's an upgrade over, because you got
For
other issues,
experience. Yeah.
but this is not, this ain't the second coming of it. This isn't a Duncan Keith move. Okay, this is Connor Murphy, like you said. He's gonna stand up for some teammates, get some scrums, give you some physicality, lay some big hits at times. But he's also going to be a liability, and he's going to get cooked at times and give up some chances that lead to some goals going the opposite way as well. So.
Yeah. I think stylistically the way he plays on the blue, you're right. I mean, his defensive game, it's been less than stellar. There's no question. You got to hope too. Maybe the fact he's joining a team that's obviously going to be a playoff team, you would think, and barring a collapse, gets a little bit more out of him, a little bit better out of him. We'll see. And like I said, they need that kind of a blue line, though. A blue liner, Edmonton. They're missing that one. Someone with a kind of a wear a heart on your sleeve type of defenseman, and they're hoping Connor Murphy can bring that here to the Edmonton Oilers at this point in time. Because, like I said, that blue line certainly needed some something to try to get it going. We'll talk Edmonton a little bit later in the show. All right, next, actually, we'll talk about them right now. They actually are the next game up on the slate. Ottawa Senators, Edmonton Oilers. All-Canadian matchup here. We've got Edmonton minus a 120. Home favorites, total 6.5 here in this game. Over 6.5. One of the first bets I placed for this card was this, over 6.5 Senators Oilers. We've talked about this run for Edmonton. 10 straight Edmonton Oilers games have gone to 7 or more goals scored in the game. 10 straight Oiler games. 10 straight Oilers games, 7+ goals scored in those games. So I said after the San Jose game, which was as easy as it gets with the over 6.5 Oilers and Sharks on Saturday, I said, as soon as I saw that cash so easily, I said, until they move these totals beyond 6.5 with Edmonton, I'm taking their overs. It's that simple. And so I'm on it here, over 6.5. One concern would be Ottawa's been playing good team defense lately, and Allmark's been solid. That being said, they did go over against Toronto on Saturday, mostly thanks to lighting up the Leafs a little bit, and they can do that here against this Edmonton team. And I know, look, we're going to see the Connor Murphy edition for the Edmonton Oilers, of course. I don't know if he'll get there in time for tonight. That's the one thing I'm not seeing him in as of yet. That could change, of course, before puck drop. But nevertheless, even if Murphy plays tonight, makes his Oilers debut, it's his first game with a brand new team. And there's and more shuffling the deck chairs on the blue line. You're not going to get cohesiveness right off the shoot here with this blue line. just because Connor Murray. It's going to take time for him to make it better if he makes it better. It's not going to happen right away. So I don't think he's playing tonight anyway. So I'm also on the Ottawa side. You're going to give me I know Edmonton's coming off the loss to San Jose. They're going to be wanting to bounce back, but Ottawa's the better team and the better defensive team, I think, right now, especially the better defensive team right now. And I can get them at a plus price. I know Edmonton's owned the series, but I'm going to take a shot here. Ottawa is a slight dog, plus 100, plus 105. I'll split that with team total on the Ottawa Senators here, which is actually very reasonable. Over 3.5 here for Ottawa, plus 116 is what I'm seeing with that. So we'll split that up. Ottawa money line with team total over, plus the full game over 6.5 at minus 125, minus 130. Probably we'll sprinkle on first period over, but we'll try to wait for a little better price than what's out there right now on it, because it's way too expensive right now to bet over 1.5 first period pregame. Alex, what do you think here? Ottawa, Edmonton.
Yeah, this is an over by factor live game, but this is one where I'll be playing them small, and if I don't get the prices I want, if I don't get the time crunch in where I can get to a decent number, it'll just be a pass for me. This is one I'm not going to rush to with many games on the board. There's a lot of spots that I like. I know this over trend's been running hot, but you got to shop around because you're seeing minus 150 at FanDuel already for 6.5.
It's moved even since the show started. It was minus 130 before the show.
There's sevens. There's sevens at MGM already. Yeah. Sevens at DraftKings. So this is one you got to wait for. But if I miss the boat. I miss the boat. So be it. So I'll try and wait for something better at a 6.5. Hopefully a 6 potentially. But like I said, it's tough when you have those numbers popping up into that 7 range now.
Yeah, and the over 1.5, the average price I'm seeing is like minus 170.75 right now with the over 1.5 too. So it's it's that Enterprise Rent-A-Car commercial. Sounds expensive with the old lady in the back seat. That's exactly what it is with the first period over here. Matt, what do you think? Ottawa, Edmonton.
Yeah, so I'm in the same boat with goals. I did jump on a first period over in this game at minus 150. I know it was juicy, but Edmonton's been so hot for it. But the bigger play here for me is the same game parlay. This is a perfect game for it. It's minus 103 on Caesars if you take 1.5, 5.5. Both are insanely juicy. I think 5.5 is like minus 220, 230, but when you parlay the two together, minus 103. So I like goals early and often in this one. Sides wise, I don't know. I probably would lean Edmonton, but I'm just going to stay off the sides. We have a big card, so totals. Same game parlay is the only big play here for me.
Also known as the Matty Rob special. Yeah, over 1.5 first period and over 5.5 full game. Same game parlay for Matt here with Ottawa, Edmonton. Yeah, back-to-back games with a goal for both Draisaitl and Jake Wallman. I'm going to sprinkle with Jake Wallman, plus 800 for Edmonton. He scored in back-to-back games from the blue line for this Oilers team. He's so he's been getting involved a little bit, which is very interesting because he doesn't play on the power play for them, but he still managed, to score in back-to-back games. Dylan Cousins has had some success against Edmonton in the past, and he scored last game, so I don't mind that for the Ottawa Senators here either as far as a goal prop in this game. And I'm also going to reference, as usual, Podkolzin, Kapanen, Savoy, that middle six. Especially Kapanen and Podkolzin look like the two players with Draisaitl here tonight. There's probably some good goal prop value with them here in this game as well. All right, next up, we've got Dallas and Calgary. We go from northern Alberta down to southern Alberta. We've got Dallas and Calgary next up. It is Dallas minus 130, 35 road favorites in this game. The total sitting at 5.5 across the board. I did sprinkle a little bit here on Dallas, even on a back-to-back. Not a big bet. It is back-to-back. It's a rest advantage for Calgary. But I don't know off the top of my – I should have looked it up. I usually do, but I forgot to look at Dallas's back-to-back record this season.
6-1.
Oh, it's very good. There you go, Matt. I thought maybe Matt would have it. He is the Dallas Stars guy, so there you go. Jonathan's got it as 7-2, but either way, 7-2, 6-1. Either way, it's pretty damn good.
I think it's the streak is 6-1.
Yeah.
Or the last 7 or whatever. But yeah, I know they were 5-1 to it at one point. They did drop one, so yeah, that makes sense. But they've won their last couple. So
There's nothing really more to add. It's a small bet. Like the price is just good enough that I took Dallas. I got minus 125 on it. It was actually a little better price earlier in the day. Minus 135. I still like it. Ride the streak, 9-game win streak. This is significant. I think you're going to get a good effort. I don't think you're going to get a flat game just because they pummeled Vancouver last night. This is a chance to extend the win streak to double digits, 10 wins for the Dallas Stars. So I think that's a motivating factor for them in this game. So I'm on Dallas, and they're the better team, of course. So, yeah, Dallas for me, minus 135. Matt, what do you think here, Dallas, Calgary?
Yeah, I'm on Dallas as well. I jumped in yesterday at minus 120, even before the Vancouver game. They've just been good back-to-backs this year. So I do like that. I could make a case for maybe splitting it with the team total. I was just checking to see if you take it at over 3.5, you get a plus price. So they've just been rolling. So I think, there's another opportunity for them to kind of show we're getting into playoff form. We're rolling into the end of the season in the right spot. So I think, you see another game with goals kind of coming from all over the board. I do have a prop that I'll mention later from this game, but yeah, I think I'll keep it simple and just take Dallas money line minus 120, which was what I got in at. I could see it being an over game, but DeSmith's been good, and I would expect DeSmith tonight. I actually don't know if that's confirmed or not.
And we don't mind Casey DeSmith. Oh, yeah, it will be. It definitely will be DeSmith on a back-to-back, and it is confirmed, Casey. But we don't mind Casey. I don't mind Casey DeSmith. He's given up 2 goals or less in 6 of his last 7 starts for the Dallas Stars. That's pretty damn good. I mean, that's really good from your backup Tendy. 2 or fewer in 6 of the last 7 games for Casey DeSmith. So, like I said, you've got a reliable backup goalie here for the Dallas Stars. So that Calgary team total under 2.5. Perlo likes it in the chat. I mean, he's given up 2 or fewer in 6 of the last 7. So if you buy into that, I understand why. Alex, what do you think? Stars, Flames.
He's played well of late, but against Calgary, his numbers have been a little high. 2-3-1 with a 2.83 goals against, a 919 save percentage. So I would be leaning more toward just backing Dallas to get the victory. I wouldn't go crazy with a shutout or Flames team total under necessarily. I like more that Dallas just continues their role. I like their team total over. I actually like them in regulation plus $1.20, but I will grab a little piece of each. Kind of go, Dallas Stars to win, just money line, maybe live, and then pregame grab a piece of that regulation.
All right, good stuff. As far as props, Jason Robertson. Yeah, that's right, Keith Yandel. I heard that earlier today. It's Robertson. What the hell's he taught Jason Robinson? Come on, how do you screw that up twice too?
I made that mistake. I made that mistake for like the first year of his career, so I'm not throwing any shade.
You're not throwing stones.
I made that mistake often. So yeah.
Yeah, but you're on a major fucking hockey podcast that you call the so-called number 1 podcast in the NHL here, and you called him not Matt. You called him Jason Robinson twice in the span of like 30, and they corrected you the first time, and you said it again.
So, we're number 3. We're number 3, and I made that mistake often. So I'm gonna call it mulligan.
Yeah. Oh well. Yeah. I make brain farts and mistakes every now and then. Like go look it up. Human by the Human League. I'm only human, born to make mistakes. Yeah, that we all are. Absolutely. Yeah. And so we got to forgive him a little bit for that. But still, I think it's the fact he screwed it up twice, calling him Robinson instead of Robertson. So that's what made it bad for our guy there, Keith Yandel, on the Chicklets podcast. But nevertheless, Jason Robertson, let's make sure we get that right, has scored in back-to-back games here for Dallas. I like Maverick Bourque still, though, on the top line. I think there's still good value with him finding the back of the net for the Dallas Stars as well. So those are a couple that I'm interested in for the Stars as far as goal props here tonight. Dustin Wolf, by the way, confirmed in net for Calgary. All right, Tampa Bay, Minnesota. This is the second game of the TNT doubleheader, and this is a good one. Hopefully Kenny Albert, who's calling this game with Edzo and Bush, is feeling a little better with his voice here tonight. That was pretty rough last week. in LA. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Poor guy. Sounded like he was going to croak on the air there. Just dying up there. But no, I did hear a piece of him doing the Ranger game over the weekend. So his voice is back. So should be good to go tonight. We've got Tampa Bay minus 130, road favorites, 6 the total in this game. It's still amazing Kenny and Edzo and all them did a game that quickly after getting back from Italy and the Olympics. I mean, that was just insane that they were back on the call again for a Vegas LA game last Wednesday. We're on Minnesota over again. I know we finally lost one against St. Louis, 3-1 Blues, a rare Minnesota under, but you know what it's like. This is bumper stumpers. I'm not out till I lose 2 in a row with riding any streak, riding any trend, and it is still 20-3 to the over for the Minnesota Wild in their last 23 games. So I'm on it tonight. And you got both teams kind of pissed about their losses the last game. Minnesota not happy losing at home to St. Louis 3-1. And John Cooper, he gave it to his team after losing to Buffalo 6-2. I think, and we talked about it, I think it was just everything coming to a head for John Cooper. You think about the week that was, you lose in heartbreaking fashion the gold medal to the Team USA last Sunday in Milan. You come back home, you find out your father's passed away. Brutal, losing your dad, and then you come back to the bench after the funeral proceedings for his father, Mr. Cooper, and you come back and your team plays like that against the Buffalo Sabres. I think it's just it's everything just and it came out there in that press conference for John Cooper, pissed, upset, angry, emotional, all that stuff. Although he said it all in a very calm tone of voice, he wasn't screaming and yelling. It was all in but you could tell he was not happy. So I'd expect Tampa Bay to play well tonight. I'd expect Minnesota to play well tonight. I would lean Lightning a little bit here in this game, minus 130. I didn't love the price enough, and I do feel that Minnesota's going to want to bounce back too here tonight. So I'm on the over by Fecta here. First period over, full game over. More so on the full game over because of the 20-3 overrun for Minnesota. Like I said, we're not jumping off the ship after just one loss. This has been so good and so strong, Alex. This is going to need to be 3 or 4 losses in a row before I'm officially ready to say, you know what? Enough with the Minnesota overs. It's going to need to be at least, I think, 3 losses in a row with it before I finally jump off it. So not tonight, though. Over by Fecta here for me. I think the draw could be worth a shot, too, as well. East versus West, 2 teams going to come to play. I don't like this draw as much as some of the other draws on the slate, but I am on it. But mostly the over by Fecta, and especially, most of all, the full game over 6. Alex, what do you think? Tampa Bay, Minnesota.
I'm right there in lockstep with you on the over by Fecta, but I am not on the draw. I like Minnesota in this spot. I actually got them earlier, plus 124 at Bet Online on the money line. I also have Wild tied to the over 4.5, plus 155. You can get that right now at Parlay over at BetMGM. Minnesota has absolutely dominated Tampa Bay here in St. Paul. This trend goes back almost 2 decades at this point, but 11-1 the last 12 meetings here at the building formerly known as XL.
Right, you've given me these stories about Tampa, bouncing around St. Paul, Minnesota, having a little
back
fun.
in the day. Back in the day, Allery's used to be the lightning spot, and they used to enjoy the bar back when it had a more rowdier setup. Now that's not so much the case. It's just the fact of they just don't play well here for whatever reason. I don't know if it's usually just where the schedule lines up. It's just kind of a tough trip for them. But Minnesota has dominated this Lightning team at home, 11-12. Like I said, they didn't play that well either. I can see them coming out, with the crowd energy. A little bit of a later start, of course. So hopefully people, get their extra cup of coffee in with that 8:30 local time start. But I like Minnesota to get the victory here, along with the over by Fecta. And like I said, I have that parlay tied in with Wild money line with the over 4.5.
I like Jonathan's bet so much I might even sprinkle on it there, plus 1.5 and over 5.5 in this Tampa Minnesota game. Because you're right, I could see it being a 1-goal game, and you get the total down to 5.5 with the over. So, like I said, I like that. It's a nice, creative way to go about it here in this game. Matt, what do you think? Lightning Wild on TNT.
It's overs for me. Over by Fecta. I'm in agreement with you, Ian. I like the total more than the first period, but I will sprinkle on the first period as well. But yeah, I jumped on over 6 yesterday. It was one of my picks on Beyond the Lines today. It's just been too hot. I know you mentioned it. We missed it with the St. Louis game. But it's it's still crazy, like 20-2 over the last 22 or something. So I'll be on that over here. First period over a little lighter, and just hoping for goals. I mean, obviously, I think Alex is a very trustworthy source for Minnesota games, teams playing in Minnesota. Obviously, being in his backyard currently, so I'm not going to take a side here. I'm going to trust that. I would have leaned maybe Tampa, just given that they've um, lost coming into this game. I know Minnesota has as well. So, um, but they need to get back in form. Minnesota wants to win at home. As a Stars fan, I hope Tampa gets it done. But I'll just be on the overs for this one.
Yeah, as far as just a couple props that I'm interested in for Tampa, Bjorkstrand is with Point and Gensel, so a little shakeup for John Cooper. So there's some value with Bjorkstrand playing with Braden Point, Jake Gensel on the top line. Hagel, Sorelli, Kucherov now going to be the second line. So like I said, a little shakeup, and now with a little bump up to the top line, I think Bjorkstrand will be worth a look. I think for Minnesota, look, Kaprizov's been good. Not the pricing I usually like. I like a little more value with my goal props, but Kaprizov's been good. Hartman to me is what I start to look at for value centering the top line for the Minnesota Wild. Eriksson Ek, we talked about, stepped up a little bit lately as well. Those could be a couple that I'm interested in on the Minnesota side of the equation. This feels, too, Quinn Hughes didn't have a great game by his standards. He looked like he was in hangover mode from the Saturday Night Live showing on Saturday night, showing up with Jack on that. So I think on Sunday he looked a little hungover. So this could be the night TNT Quinn Hughes comes out to play. I think I might dabble in the Quinn Hughes goal prop here tonight. A better performance from him on a national TV stage. All right, Montreal and San Jose. We've got Montreal minus 130, road favorite, 6.5 the total. Montreal is a good hockey team, and this is no disrespect to them, but I continue to think, you give San Jose these prices as home dogs, I'm interested. So I did bet San Jose here, plus 110 in this game. I know Montreal's won 4 of the last 5 meetings. Now, I know Montreal's also won 4 straight here at the Shark Tank, but how many of those San Jose teams were horrendous hockey teams? How many of them? Most of them were. This is a little bit of a different San Jose team. They're starting to get some confidence back, some swagger back again, winning 2 games in a row against the Edmonton Oilers and Winnipeg Jets to snap that 5-game losing streak that they were on. Montreal starting a road trip here after the win against Washington. Here tonight. Looks like, as far as goaltending is concerned, we are going to see Yaroslav Askarov here for the San Jose Sharks, and Jakub Dobeš will get the start in net for the Montreal Canadiens here as they continue to, Marty St. Louis going back and forth. He's given Montembeault some starts, Dobeš some starts. Dobeš, the last few, has been pretty good, though. I will say that. He's on a 4-1 run in his last 5 starts, and he's given up 3 goals or less in 4 of those last 5 starts. So we'll see how he fares here in this one, but there's no doubt he's played a little bit better of late. We saw these two teams play each other twice last season, and both games were exactly 4-3 Montreal, 7 goals in both of those games. Let me see with the no, only one of them went to the first period over, but they both went for the full game over. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to sprinkle on the full game over 6.5 as well, plus that 115, plus 115, I should say, with San Jose as well. I think draw 2. I mean, overtime last year was in Montreal. The year before, the game in San Jose went to a shootout. Haven't bet the draw yet, but I can see why some people might be interested with that. Yeah, but again, something about me with San Jose as a home dog in these prices. I mean, it seems like I can't step away from taking San Jose when they're a home dog. So I'm on them again here. Alex, what do you think here? Montreal, San Jose.
Yeah, I like that draw. I grabbed that right at plus 300 at MGM. Also have Sharks to win in overtime or shootout plus 550. And I like Sharks first goal, first period, plus 130. Of course, when you talk about Dobeš and that, even though he's played well, there's always been that knock on him of him giving up the first goal of the game. So those are 3 plays that I have. More likely to grab Sharks money line as well, plus 110. That's still around. So just kind of have a full unit tied into that game.
That is a concern. I get it. Yeah, San Jose's actually lost 4 in a row at home, I believe, against Montreal. Pretty sure it's 4 in a row. But like I said, this is easily the best San Jose team of that group. There's not even a comparison to some of the horse shit San Jose's been rolling out there the last few years. So like I said, I take that a little bit with a grain of salt. So Like I said, I like San Jose. At these prices, I like San Jose. They're, to me, still undervalued when you're getting them plus 110 at home like this. Matt, what do you think? Canadian Sharks.
Same game parlay for me. First period full game. I think we get 2 in the first. I think the over 1.5 is like minus 170, so obviously no value there. But if you do a first period over full game at 5.5, it's plus 112 on Caesars. So that'll be my play on this one. I think we see some goals back and forth. You've got some great young talent on both teams. Um, you know, both teams are bottom 8 in goals against, both averaging 3.2, 3.47 respectively. So 2 teams that can score goals, that also are susceptible to giving some goals up. So I think we'll see goals in this one.
There you go. All right, good stuff there. Just quickly, as far as props, I'm looking at the lineups for Montreal. I'm going to go back to Kapanen and Caulfield's obviously scored in back-to-back games. The price isn't great, but you can't argue with it. Oliver Kapanen, second line, worth a shot for San Jose. Colin Graff is with Celebrini and Will Smith, it looks like, tonight. So I'm going to go back to the Colin Graff well. And there is someone else I really like from this game that I'm saving for Bargain Bin Special later in the show. I'm not going to save it for that segment, but one of them comes from this game. All right, last game. That's a good game, by the way, Montreal, San Jose. And obviously, so is this one. Colorado and Anaheim. To wrap up the night, we've got Colorado minus 145, road favorites, 6.5 the total. Colorado back-to-back for them after beating Los Angeles 4-2 last night, getting that victory against the Kings. See how they fare here on the back-to-back. You would think Scott Wedgwood gets the start after we saw Mackenzie Blackwood last night for Colorado. Meanwhile, for Anaheim, already confirmed Lukáš Dostal, and you can tell they're going to start riding Dostal, especially in all these big games against good teams. And the last time we saw Colorado versus Anaheim won in a shootout 2-1 in Colorado, and Dostal had one of his absolute best games of his entire season. He was unreal, unfreaking believable in that game against Colorado, in that 2-1 shootout victory over Colorado. 41-16 were the shots in favor of the Avs in that game, but it was Anaheim that prevailed with a victory in that game. Rich, you hit upon what I was about to hit upon with Colorado from a condensed scheduling standpoint. Even though these teams are off the Olympic break and everyone should be pretty fresh, this is still back-to-back, 3-4, 4-6, 5-7 games for the Colorado Avalanche tonight. So they have played a lot of hockey back-to-back. If I'm Anaheim, I turn this normally, LA tried to do this last night. They paid the piper for it. Anaheim can play a up and down style of game against Colorado better than LA can. With obviously, I think, better, faster team. Lots of great young talent up and down the lineup. They will probably test that endurance level of this Colorado team here tonight in this game. I'm going to sprinkle on Anaheim first goal, first period tonight. I'm also going to take the Quackers on the money line. Quack, 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 quack. I'm going back to Ducks team total over again here in this game tonight. I'm splitting up the Anaheim money line and the team total into 2 equal amount wagers. Team total over for Anaheim, along with that money. I think this is where it's a tough spot for Colorado. I mean, we're talking 5th game in 7 nights for this Avalanche team. So over 3 minus 106, and I'm going to just sprinkle on that with the plus 130 money line, and then I'm going to wait to see if I can get a live 2.5 team total for Anaheim at that minus 120 or better and add more to it. I'm only taking a very small piece of that over 3 pregame, see if 2.5 pops up, and if it does at a minus 120 or better, we'll add that. And I also think over by Fecta. I think it's going to be one of these, a lot of the Anaheim games have been overs. The only ones that weren't were the Winnipeg game, which, was Winnipeg's actually, no, sorry, that game did go over Winnipeg because of the late goals in that game. It was the Calgary game. Calgary game stayed under. The other 2 games were massive overs, the Winnipeg game and the Edmonton game for the Anaheim Ducks. So it's over by Fecta, and it's Anaheim money line team total over split, and that Anaheim first goal, first period. I think they're live here. I really do. Alex, we'll get to Alex in a minute. We'll start with Matt on this one. Colorado, Anaheim.
Sound like a broken record, but I think this is another same game parlay opportunity. I think the Ducks are a team I've liked the SGPs with this as of late. Getting that first period at 1.5, full game at 5.5, it's plus 110. So I think we get some goals here. I think the Ducks are a similar team. They score in bunches at times. They don't, necessarily shut teams down. So I think, to ask to get to 6 goals in this one isn't too big of an ask. And then I think I agree with you. It's a tough spot for Colorado. I don't know how much of that is my heart hoping that the Ducks win this game. But I could make a good case for the Ducks plus 125 here at home, given the rest advantage, how they've been playing, all things considered. So I lean Ducks. I don't know. We'll see how the night's going. Maybe I'll take a shot with the Ducks plus 125, but pregame for sure going to be on the same game parlay in this one.
Yeah, this is only Anaheim's 4th game in 7 nights. For Colorado, 5th game in 7 nights. See if that shows up a little bit here in this game. And this is another great game. You talk about two really entertaining games. We should have great skill, great pace, fun hockey. Yeah. Montreal, San Jose, Colorado, Anaheim here in the late night hours tonight. I mean, get your popcorn ready. I'm excited for these 2 late games. Alex, what do you think here? Avs, Ducks.
I've been riding Anaheim this whole home streak. I'm just going to continue to roll with it. Plus 125. And like you said, this is a tough spot for Colorado. It's a tough spot for any team. You talk about 5 and 7. And that's just the nature of the beast with this condensed schedule. So give me the Ducks to keep on rolling.
There we go. Anaheim. Quack, 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 quack. Yep, the Anaheim Ducks here who have won 5 in a row entering this game, including all 3 games since the Olympic break. And we know what to do if if Anaheim falls behind as well. They are worth a live wager right now. There's no quitting this team. They've had a comeback win against Edmonton, a comeback win. All 3 of their wins have been comeback wins since the Olympic break. Winnipeg, Edmonton, Calgary. They were down at one point in all 3 of those games. So they're always worth a look as far as a live bet is concerned. As far as props for this last game of the night, Avs Ducks, Gauthier heating up for the Anaheim Ducks. You could definitely go in that direction as far as a goal props. I'm just looking at some head-to-head statistics. Landeskog's done well against Anaheim, so he might be worth a look as far as a goal prop. Carlson's had a lot of success against Colorado. Leo Carlson for Anaheim, so there's someone to keep in mind. And yes, good point by the chat. Should have mentioned this. Arturi Lehkonen here for Colorado. He's out, and obviously he'll be missed. And it looks like the alteration in the lineup for Colorado in his absence is going to be Victor Olofsson, Nelson, Nichushkin on the second line. Of course, Landeskog with McKinnon and Natchez still. So Victor Olofsson might be that player with a little more value here in props, filling the void left by Lehkonen and his absence. All right, shout out to everyone in the chat. And Wedgwood should be the goalie, I believe, for Colorado. It hasn't been confirmed yet. But on the back-to-back, I'm sure it will be him. All right, great stuff. Shout out to everyone in the chat at the like button. I saw that too, Jonathan. If you want a real long shot, I mean, he's not much of a goal scorer. He's known more for throwing hands than putting the puck in the net. Jeffrey VL. Jeffrey VL has actually scored 2 goals in 2 games against Scott Wedgwood. And you're getting, plus 650 or so with him to find the back of the net. So, like I said, maybe worth a flyer or a sprinkle or 2 there. Great stuff. Great show. Appreciate everyone joining us. Hit the like button. WizardSportsPicks.com. Check out Matt Robinson's Beyond the Lines video for today. He does it every Tuesday. Check that out. It's been a great run on the website. Number 1 NHL, profitable in every sport. Just spectacular results. Number 2 overall from the beginning on the website in all sports as well, too. So great run. Keep it going. WizardSportsPicks.com. Make sure you check that out. And Patreon.com/IceGuys, $10 per month. Make sure you get on board. We've had a great response. We've got a Patreon exclusive live betcast coming up very, very soon. So make sure you get on board. Patreon.com/IceGuys. Goalie charts, totals charts, daily betting card, sides, totals, player props posted each and every day on the Patreon page. So get on board. Your membership goes a long way to supporting the show and keeping it going long term. $10 per month. Check it out. Patreon.com/IceGuys.
Also, check out the Ice Guys store. Today is a really good day to buy something that's over at the Ice Guys store. That's iceguys.myspreadshop.com. We've got caps, we've got T-shirts, we've got hoodies, we've got mugs, we've got all kind of wonderful items. So check that on out right now. iceguys.myspreadshop.com.
All right, bargain bin special of the night and best bets coming up right after we hear from our great Ice Guys sponsors.
Wizard Sports Picks, featuring the finest handicappers in the universe. Sharp insights, trusted picks, and relentless results. We strive to help you become consistent winners. This is Wizard Sports Picks.
All right, bargain bin special of the night. We certainly got a lot of games to choose from. 11 here on this Tuesday NHL card, 11 games. Alex, we'll start with you. Bargain bin special of the night.
Yep, I got a pair of them. We'll start first with that Florida-New Jersey game, and you got mentioned moving up in that lineup. Anton Lundell, you get him over at DraftKings, the best price available for anytime goal, plus 370. So that would be my first bargain bin special. Anton Lundell of the Florida Panthers. The second one, we go to that Chicago-Winnipeg game, and a guy who really needs to get things rocking and rolling. You can also get him at the same price, the same book, DraftKings plus 370, Frank Nazar. This is a guy who's been awfully quiet, of course, went through some injuries and missed some time. But I like Frank Nazar to get on the board for the Blackhawks here tonight. Plus 370, that'll be my second bargain bin special.
All right, good stuff. There we go. 2 bargain bin specials for Alex. Matt, what do you got for bargain bin special of the night?
So go up to Calgary for the Dallas Calgary showdown tonight. Texas versus Texas of Canada is what I hear. So I've got a player prop. He's been getting chances. He had a sick pass last night. Sam Steele, anytime goal. He's from Ardrossan, Alberta, Canada. Small town about 3 hours north of Calgary. I've been in Alberta. I know the landscape a little bit. I'm assuming there's not a ton between where he's from and Calgary, so I'm guessing he was a Calgary fan growing up. But either way, home province, family will be in attendance, I'm sure. So yeah, Sam Steele anytime goal plus 425. He's playing on that second line. He did have a few big chances last night, so I expect him to try and play well in his home area, we'll say, in the game tonight.
Good stuff indeed there. A little Sammy Steele for Dallas for Matt with his bargain bin. I've got 2 bargain bin specials for tonight. The first one, we're going to go to the second TNT game, Tampa Bay, Minnesota. Mentioned he's moving up to the top line for the Tampa Bay Lightning tonight, playing alongside Braden Point and Jake Gensel on that top line. He'll be with them. Oliver Bjorkstrand, Tampa Bay, plus 350. So pretty good price there for someone playing on the top line and a team not happy about the way they played on Saturday against Buffalo. So Oliver Bjorkstrand, Tampa Bay, plus 350 for my first bargain bin special of the night. And my second one, I mentioned it earlier. It's from the Montreal-San Jose game. Yes, I mentioned Colin Graff, but the player I'm going with on San Jose for my bargain bin special of the night is going to be Michael Misa. That's right, Michael Misa, plus 500. He has scored in back-to-back games for the Sharks, scored the game-winning goal in overtime against the Winnipeg Jets over the weekend. Great price. He's gaining more and more confidence and swagger with the puck with every passing game. Goals in back-to-back games. Let's see if he can make it 3 games in a row, finding the back of the net. Michael Misa, San Jose, plus 500 for my second bargain bin special for this Tuesday night. All right, Alex, best bet.
Yeah, let's head on up the street to Grand Casino Arena. Late start. We got Tampa Bay taking on Minnesota. And I like goals early in that game. You can get minus $1.22 with that first period over. So like I said, it should be some good, pace both ways. Both teams coming off losses. Both teams should be showing some fire. So Tampa Bay, Minnesota, first period over 1.5 minus 122 is my best bet.
All right. Lightning Wild over 1.5 first period. Best bet for Alex B. Smith. Mr. 8 seconds. Here he is. Matt Robinson. Best bet.
Well, first off, I just got to say I clicked into Sam Steele's.
Can you cash a bet for us in 8 seconds tonight with this pick? No,
I
probably
hope so.
not.
But no, so I was just looking at Sam Steele's hometown, 929 square miles, 898 total people live there. So very remote spot. My high school class was 2 times that size, so that's crazy. But yeah, as far as tonight's card goes, I was back and forth on a few. There's 2 same game parlays. I debated making my best bet: Montreal, San Jose, Edmonton, Ottawa. But I think I'm going to keep it simple. They're 7-2 on back-to-backs. They're playing great hockey since the Olympic break. Give me the Stars on the money line. -120 is what I locked it in at. I know it's moved a little bit since then, but still a good price for a team that is playing a team that's just playing for draft picks at this point. Give me Dallas money line tonight. That'll be my best bet.
All right, there you go, Dallas, -135 against Calgary for Matt Robinson with his best bet. My best bet, I don't know when the last time I've used this team as a best bet winner or a best bet selection here on the Ice Guys show. I know it's been a long time, but they are probably one of my favorite sides. It is my favorite side on the board tonight. They're off that loss on the weekend to Philadelphia. They're back home where they have this dominant 22-9 home record on the season. I think Boston Bruins bounce back tonight. I'll take Boston -120 against Pittsburgh to cool off the Penguins. Penguins come back down to earth after that 5-0 win against Vegas on Sunday afternoon. So I like Boston -120 against Pittsburgh for my best bet here for this Tuesday NHL slate. Shout out to everyone. We appreciate it very much. Hit the like button if you haven't done so already. And looking forward to, obviously, this big Tuesday night slate. And like I said, it's been a great betting run for me, for a lot of us here on the show since the Olympic break. We'll see if we can keep it going once again here tonight. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday, Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms. For Alex B. Smith and Matt Robinson, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Tuesday night. Enjoy the games and good luck, and we will see you tomorrow on Wednesday. No Alex tomorrow, but Perlo and I will be here 2 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday right here on the Ice Guys.